The boy, named Aaron, was known throughout the quiet village of Viridia not for his kindness or quick wit, but for a simple, crippling flaw, his laziness. It was a disease that infected every part of his life. He was a master of delay, a grand procrastinator who left tasks undone until they became impossible burdens. He had fallen behind in his studies, his chores were perpetually neglected, and his family's small farm suffered from his lack of attention. His parents, with lines of worry etched into their faces, and his teachers, their voices weary with repetition, would often plead with him. "Aaron, don't waste your time," they'd say, their words hanging in the air like a ghost. But Aaron never listened. He was more interested in watching clouds drift by or chasing after butterflies, living as if tomorrow was a bottomless well of time. This comfortable, slow-paced existence was shattered one day by the arrival of a figure who seemed to have stepped out of a legend. A wise man, known simply as the Sage, was passing through Viridia. His reputation preceded him. Tales of his profound wisdom and ability to see into the hearts of people had traveled far. Villagers, hungry for guidance and hope, flocked to see him. Aaron, drawn by the crowd and a glimmer of hope that this man could offer a quick fix to his problems, found himself in line. When it was finally his turn, Aaron, a boy who usually shuffled with his head down, stood before the Sage. He took a deep breath and let his frustrations spill out. "Please help me," he began, his voice shaky. "I feel like a failure. My classmates are all ahead of me, and I want to be the best. Tell me, how can I catch up?" The Sage looked at Aaron, not with judgment, but with eyes that held the quiet understanding of 1,000 sunsets. "My child," he said softly, "you struggle because you do not value your time. You let your moments slip through your fingers like sand, and you push your duties into a tomorrow that never comes. Let me tell you a story." He began, his voice weaving a tapestry of words. "Long ago, there was a kind and generous king. He was known for his just rule and a heart that felt for his people. One day, while walking in his garden, he recognized a man he had not seen since his school days. This friend, however, was no longer the confident young man he remembered. He was dressed in rags, his face etched with hardship, and he complained endlessly about his misfortunes, blaming everyone but himself. The king, feeling a pang of pity, asked him about his life. "Your Majesty," the man sighed, his voice thick with self-pity, "I try to find work, but every door is slammed in my face. They tell me I'm never on time, and I don't know why. I'm just unlucky." The king, seeing a chance to teach a lesson and help his old friend, offered a grand opportunity. "Before the sun sets today, you may enter my treasury and take as much gold and jewels as you can carry." The friend's eyes went wide. He bowed deeply, his heart pounding with joy, and ran home to tell his wife. She was ecstatic, urging him to hurry to the palace. But he waved her off. "I'm starving," he said. "There's plenty of time. I'll eat first." He sat down and enjoyed a leisurely meal, a feast of a man who was already celebrating his fortune. After his meal, a wave of drowsiness washed over him. "I'll just rest my eyes for a moment," he thought. He lay down and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep that lasted for 2 hours. He awoke with a start, the sun now high in the sky. Panicked, he grabbed his sacks and began the journey to the palace. But the afternoon sun was a blazing furnace. He felt exhausted and decided to rest under a large oak tree. Just for a little while, he told himself, but the cool breeze and soft grass were too inviting. He fell asleep again, this time for 4 hours. He finally woke as the sky was turning a brilliant shade of orange. The sun was dipping below the horizon. He leapt to his feet and sprinted toward the palace, the sacks dragging behind him. But as he arrived, panting and desperate, he saw the massive gates slowly closing with a final, echoing thud. The sun had set. He was too late. He stood there, a man who had been offered a fortune and had been robbed by his own procrastination. The gates remained shut, the opportunity lost forever. The sage's voice faded, and a heavy silence settled between them. Aaron, who had been listening with rapt attention, now sat still, his face pale with shame. The story was a mirror, and he saw his own reflection in the man who had lost everything. He finally understood the simple, terrifying truth. Time, once spent, could never be recovered. Aaron thanked the wise man and walked home, the weight of his old habits now a heavy burden on his shoulders. He began to change, not with grand gestures, but with small, deliberate acts. He completed his chores without being asked. He started his schoolwork the moment he got home, and he learned to appreciate the value of a single minute. Slowly, painstakingly, he began to catch up, not just in his studies, but in his life. He earned the respect of his peers, the pride of his parents, and a quiet sense of fulfillment. He learned that time is more precious than any jewel. A traveler knows the value of a minute when his train leaves without him. A student understands the weight of a year when he fails an exam he could have studied for. Aaron, the lazy boy from Viridia, became the man who understood that by valuing time, time would reward you tenfold. But if you waste it, you will one day look back with an ocean of regret. Those who master the clock master their destiny. Those who let it slip away often find themselves standing outside a closed gate. So never delay, never procrastinate, and never take your time for granted. Use every second wisely, and you will build a life more valuable than all the gold in a king's treasury.